The technology affecting Russia and Ukraine, what is being blocked and what is not, the real reason why the hardware was installed in data centers in Russia, Starlink internet arrives in Ukraine despite communication shutdown, and the FCC pushes the Affordable Connectivity Program enrollment. All that and more next on the Computer Doctor Show.
You're listening to the Computer Doctor Show, your source for technology subjects affecting your business and personal life during this new normal. Your host is an award-winning office technician and IT specialist, author, tutor, ethical hacker, and recent winner on localbest.com as the best computer shop in Tucson. Broadcasting live, here's Aaron Moss.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Computer Doctor Show, your headquarters. Up-to-date scam awareness, science and cutting-edge technology talk. This is episode 82. I'm Aaron Moss, your host. Thanks for tuning in with us every Saturday at 2 p.m. We post all of our shows and bonus content on computerdoctorshow.com. Again, computerdoctorshow.com. We love to hear from you, so give us a call during the show with your computer, internet, cybersecurity comments and questions on our open studio line, 520-790-2040. Co-hosting today is David from the Cassie Unscrew Theater.
Hello, thank you so much for having me back.
All right, thanks for coming by today and to show some love to our expert technicians at Perfection Auto Works. You know, I bought a new car a couple of months back from a private party. It was not a new car, but a new car to me. Mm-hmm. And after driving it for about 30 minutes after I bought it, guess what comes on? The drivetrain light comes on. Usually that's sayonara for the transmission and or the engine. Talked to Mike Emery about it, and he asked me a few questions, and basically he was able to determine that it was the overdrive. And I just turned the overdrive off, and now the thing just runs fine.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So how about that? You know, that's just an example of the type of the level of expertise that they have over there at Perfection Auto Works. So you can give them a call for an appointment, 520-323-8650. Again, 520-323-8650. So we have a great show for you today. I'm not going to say it's great news, but you know, it's something that happens in the world that we live in today. So many news outlets are talking about what's happening in Ukraine and what Russia is doing. And so there's a whole technology side of what is happening because Russia was prepared. There were things that they did 6 months ago that we're going to get into. Prepared them to do a lot of the blocking, a lot of the filtering, a lot of the censoring that's even happening that has brought up in the news in the last couple of days. So some of the services that have stopped in Russia includes the shipping of Samsung products, for example, products including chips, smartphones, and other electronics. Also, Microsoft products and services have stopped in Russia. Mm-hmm. Also, Yandex. Yandex, a lot of people don't know what Yandex is, but it's the Russian Google, if you will. It's a search engine that's very, very popular in Russia. It's called Yandex. They have their own index, and many Russians use that. It actually has a value. It's traded publicly, I believe, and it lost about 75% of its value in the last 6 months.
That is an absolutely insane drop. I know their rubles also out of value as well.
Yep. So there's a financial side, there's a technology side, mm-hmm. and the effects of people. And there's even tons of people that still may not even know what is going on because they are a result of a lot of the filtering and the censoring that is going on. Facebook as well has already started pausing ads, and they're probably going to stop services in Russia as well. Also, there is a organization called ICANN, which is spelled ICANN. It's an acronym that stands for the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. ICANN. Yeah. ICANN. And what do they do? We were talking about that before.
Yeah, they're essentially the database of all domain names and registrations and all those things. They'll give you, if you go to ICANN and need to look up a website, it'll tell you who owns it, who to contact about it. And I remember When I wanted to purchase a domain from somebody, I went there and found out who owned it and reached out to them. Yeah, unfortunately, they were crazy, so I didn't buy the domain from them. But it was a very useful tool in finding out that information.
Why do those registrations always go to crazy people? Because I've tried to reach out to. It always goes to someone who doesn't want to help, can't be helped, can't be reached. Is like a ghost.
Right. Well, it hasn't improved because the site was then purchased by a corporation that tried to sell it to me for like $5,000, and I went, okay, no, I don't want it that much.
You want it, but you don't want it that much.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay, but basically, ICANN has refused to block Russian servers, and we were talking about this before the show. Even if they did agree to block certain IP addresses or domains, it wouldn't really affect anything because it only comes into play at the time of registration. So let's say that you wanted to create a new domain. You had a new idea, a new concept, and there was a domain that was available. You want to go out and purchase it.
Right.
Whether you would use the registrar, it could be GoDaddy or any number of registrars that are out there. All of them kind of feed into the ICANN system.
Right. I think it would be different if the registrars were the ones cutting off service, but ICANN's just the directory. So the only thing I can think of is it might make it harder to look up the information of sites if you were trying to attack them from a hacker's perspective. But if you're a hacker, you're going to find that information anyway. So really, the people who would be affected are the common people who would be just trying to find out information. And there's no reason for that.
Okay. But you can still find out information on domains that are out there. But it's interesting how much tech companies are playing a role in this conflict here. And we just have to be mindful of it.
Right.
Because there are some people out there who are not getting the information that they need because it is being blocked or censored or filtered. Also, keep in mind that just a few short months ago, on episode 67 of the Computer Doctor Show, and that was aired back in mid-October of 2021, we had reported that the Russian government installed lots of hardware in key data centers throughout the country, likely containing overriding and control systems so that some services may not have a choice but to obey these new pieces of hardware. So what we talked about back in October was the Russian government forcefully installed spy equipment in the third-party data centers, and these are data centers that are controlled by what we would call ISPs.
Right.
That would be your Xfinity Comcast, your CenturyLink, your Cox, all the ISPs. The Russian versions, they have their own data centers where all of those lines terminate and where they can push services through those lines. In these buildings, that's where the Russian authorities installed these extra racks of spy equipment.
Right.
And it was almost as if they were planning for that this was going to be an issue. So they put that information up beforehand. And obviously it was tested, made sure it was running, and now they're able to have this control over the content that is coming in and out of the country.
It's looking a lot like the Chinese government at this point, too.
Yes, and we an innocent person may say, okay, well, they are just trying to control fake news. There's fake news out there, and it is true. There is real fake news.
It's not just the news. It's not just what goes out to the people that they can monitor. They can monitor everything that the people are doing as well, inside and out. Right. It's a two-way traffic, and that's where traffic monitoring comes in. That's the kind of thing that if you're in a large corporation and you click on a bad email, you get a phone call from someone in IT. Hey, we're getting some flags over here. You must have clicked on something. What did you do? Let's do that. Let's not do that anymore, because they can see all those if you're manually monitoring the traffic going in and out of the organization. Now, the same thing is happening. It could happen theoretically in a data center. There are things that you can put in there for things to be monitored. Yeah. And then you could apply different types of artificial intelligence to monitor it for you. They can say, okay, when this happens or that happens, bing, send off that alarm, something happened. Let's stop that. And what happened back in October
experiencing slower internet, not because there was a problem with the technology or anything that was happening with the internet there. It's just that it was taking a longer route, longer route. An email that was coming in now would take a longer period of time because it was filtered and censored and everything,
scanned.
and then scanned and then sent out. So apparently that, just use your imagination, and we can learn how Russia is attempting to control, filter, and censoring information within the country. But if you want to re-listen to that episode, that was episode 67, you can go to computerdoctorshow.com, click episodes, and then find episode 67. Now, you might say, is there no hope for Ukraine from a technology standpoint? Well, guess who stepped in? Starlink.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, he's quite a guy. He actually allowed apparently there were shipments or multiple shipments, I don't know, but apparently lots of places in Ukraine got Starlink systems. And they're apparently, with these Starlink systems, they work on low orbit satellites, and they're able to bypass any and all filters or anything on the land infrastructure that was in place.
Which it's impressive speeds from what I've heard, because normally, you equate satellite internet with the absolute worst service possible. But from what I hear, this is pretty fast.
Version 1 was 142 megabit, and now they started Starlink 2.0, which I understand now is 250 megabit.
So
speed.
It's already better than DSL.
Yes. Well, you might as well have I think one person says, well, you might as well have dial-up, if it gets too slow.
Right.
So, Starlink for doing that, since their system does not require any hardwire, radio, or cell towers to operate, and they can go straight through. But we're going to take our midway commercial break with a word from our sponsors. Up next, don't forget about the affordable connectivity program. We're going to talk some details about that. This is the Computer Doctor Show.
Sonny, have you heard from Connie? Yeah, I talked to her. Bip-a-da-bop-a-da-boop. Hello? What? Carlo beat you again? Listen, Connie, I'll be right there. Don't go anywhere. What is it, Sonny? Damn, Carlo. I'll tell you what, I'll go with you. We'll take care of business. Hey, Sonny, want some cannoli? Not right now. I gotta clear my head. You gotta stop here at the toll booth. Oh, what's the matter, Sonny? You kinda jumpy? You know what you gotta do? You gotta get the car fixed. Take it to Perfection Auto Works. They'll take care of the backfire for you.
If your car is making you nervous and jumpy because of strange noises, bring it into Perfection Auto Works for our free 26-point inspection. Call Perfection Auto Works today, 323-8650, and perfectionautoworks.com. Hey, Sonny, I'll take that cannoli.
Computer Doctor of Tucson is the best choice in desktop support in Tucson. They fix error messages, power and boot problems, install of software and hardware, and much more. You can come to them, or they can come to you, or even have a remote support session so they can fix your issues over the phone quickly. Give them a call at 261-5508, 261-5508. Visit them on the web at computerdoctortucson.com. Computer Doctor of Tucson, because technology is great when it works.
All right, we have a guy asleep at the switch here, but welcome back to the Computer Doctor Show, your source for scam awareness, science, and cutting-edge technology talk. I'm Aaron Moss, your host, along with David, co-hosting today from the Unscrewed Theater. Before we get into that segment, David, what can you tell us about the Unscrewed Theater?
Oh, well, we are back open to live audiences again, which is fantastic news. Had a little bit of a brief shutdown, but now we have live audiences in the theater. We, of course, request that all audience members bring a mask and show proof of vaccination. But we are back on with all of our full show schedule of all the wonderful short form, long form, musical, comic book, and, of course, uncensored shows for the late night crowd. And love to have you back in the theater.
Are you talking? You'd love to have me back in the theater?
Well,
or
that too. I
Okay.
meant the audience as well. So, but yes, you're included in
I
that.
will be there tonight. Actually,
Oh, fantastic.
I will be there. I'm celebrating my 8th anniversary with my wife.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
So we're going to go to your show tonight and another show someplace else tomorrow, and we hope to have a good time. And I understand you're doing another show too. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say anything about that, but maybe.
I mean, yeah, I will be doing Titanic the musical with Arts Express coming up in April. I'm sure I'll share more about it as we get closer to the date. Okay,
sounds cool. So here's some other announcements. I am actually in the metaverse now, and what that means, I've had to re-explain this. I thought that people knew what this means, but it basically just means that I am in the virtual reality game now, and there are people that I can now meet that are in the metaverse that also have virtual reality capabilities. There's a way to meet with them. It's basically part of Meta. Facebook renamed themselves 6 months ago to Meta and Metaverse. And so this is like the next level of communication, social media and communication, things of that sort. And there's a huge way to game. There's gaming aspects of it. There is entertainment aspects of it, but there's also a big productivity aspect of it, which is the main reason why I got it.
Yeah, I thought you were looking a little more pixelated today. I wasn't going to say anything, but
well, it's funny when you wear these things, you have to double. When you take them off and then you observe your real world, you're like, wow, I can see in 3D. No, this is the real world. The real world is 3D.
It is a little disorienting when you have those on, especially if you've been doing it for a while.
Say, wow, this microphone is really close. I can almost touch it, But it is right there. But it kind of messes with your head a little bit.
Yeah.
It is a little bit difficult on the eyes. The device that I ended up having to buy was called the Oculus 2 or the Quest 2?
Quest 2?
Quest 2.
Yeah.
That runs on Oculus software.
Right.
Oculus is a product of Facebook or Meta. So
it's the same model I have.
Yeah. So it's a great way to experience a virtual world, and you just have to experience it. It's not something I can communicate over radio about how it works or anything.
Go find a nerd in your life who's got one and convince them to let you try it on.
There you go. It does have. There are a lot of bugs in the system. There's still a lot of apps that are on there that still don't work quite right. There's lots of experimental beta versions. There are experimental features that are not fully developed yet, but they're still on there. And sometimes when you turn some of these experimental features on and off, you start getting like shaking, action and stuff. So I just turn them back off.
Yeah.
But there's lots of productivity benefits, gaming and meeting applications too. It's a fun way to spend your tax refund, and there's a little bit of patience required and a little bit hard in your eyes, like we said, but just give it a try. Find somebody that has it and ask them to give it a try for you. Also, the Star Wars Hotel, or it's also called the Galactic Star Cruiser. It officially opened March 1st, a couple of days ago, and there are already some reviews on Google and other places, and the reviews are not as what we were thinking. So it's basically a resort at Disney, and it's all Star Wars themed.
Yeah.
But we were looking at some pictures before the show of what some of the accommodations look like, and what the reviews say and what we both said is what?
It looks like Star Trek.
Star Trek.
I was just looking at the design going, these look like they would be perfectly in place on a Star Trek set.
Right. So some of these diehard fans of Star Wars.
And I am one.
Yes. So we can tell the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek themed stuff. So it looks like Star Wars characters in a Star Trek environment.
Right.
That doesn't make us happy. It just doesn't. And some of the other comments online were the prices are insane and the attraction does not resemble a bit like Star Wars, more like Star Trek. $5,000 to $6,000 for 2 nights if people are looking at luxury cruises instead. $5,000 or $6,000 for a family of maybe mother, father, sister, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 of them, $5,000 to $6,000 for 3 days, 2 nights at this big experience. I understand the expenses, but not $5,000 or $6,000 of expenses.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend that much on a vacation for a night. Yeah, that's insanity.
But there are some people that will, like people that have like YouTube channels, and they take their cameras in and record everything. They put it on. They make more money with the viewers. And
that
all
is true. Yeah.
So for them it's worth it. But for people that are just really authentically just going there for the experience, a lot of people are saying it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So let's move on now to the Science and Tech Anniversary, or we also like to call the Nerd News. So,
absolutely.
David, what do you have for us?
We
for
have
Tech Anniversaries?
March 1876, 146 years ago, a 29-year-old Alexander Graham Bell received a patent for this revolutionary new invention called the telephone. Have you heard of one of those before?
Yes.
All right.
The last time I think the last time I actually used a real landline, a real landline, not a cable-based or modem-based landline.
VoIP,
was probably about 8 years ago.
I can't even recall the last time I touched an actual copper landline.
After I got married, my wife and I, we moved into another house, and that had voice over IP. But my old house, where I lived with my grandmother, was taking care of her. She died at 100 too. But at 100, and she still had plain old phone systems coming into the house.
Gotcha.
So she was able to do that. So that was the last time I ever used it. Okay. So what happened March 10th?
Yeah, March 10th, 1876. The first phone call occurred, and you want to know what the first words spoken by Alexander Graham Bell on the first call on March 10th, 1876 were?
Was it a...
he talked to his assistant, Thomas Watson, and he said, "I'd like to reach you about your car's extended warranty." Just kidding. It was, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you."
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So 146 years with a telephone system. So how about that? Also, with the time that we have left in the show, the FCC is pushing for the Affordable Connectivity Program enrollment. So this is also called the ACP, or the Affordable Connectivity Program enrollment. So people that are on programs such as the SNAP or WIC, SSI, or Veterans Pension Survivors Benefit, any type of benefit that you have government assistance, and there's tons of these programs that are out there. If you receive benefits from any one of these programs, chances are you will benefit from the Affordable Connectivity Program. And the way it works is you contact your ISP, you tell them that you want to enroll in the ACP, or Affordable Connectivity Program, and they're going to send you to a website or a section of their own website where you apply, and then you have to wait a couple of days for something to come back from the government as an approval. They give you some sort of code in an email. You give that code back to your ISP, your service provider for the internet, and they will actually pay either $30 a month toward your internet bill, or $50 to your internet bill, depending if you're on Indian reservation or not. There are some Indian reservations that are able to receive this show, so we hope that they can benefit as well.
Absolutely.
So, but even if you're not, hey, what's $30? There are some people here in Tucson that I know personally that they're living on less than $900 a month, sometimes even less than $500 a month.
Yeah, and that,
so
that means a lot.
That $30 can go a long way. That can even make the difference of whether they even have internet or not. Okay, and with Cox and Xfinity, there are programs that are $50 or less. Oh my goodness, we're running out of time. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you also to our sponsors, Perfection Auto Works. We'll see you next week.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Computer Doctor Show. If you missed any part of this live broadcast, we post all our episodes online at computerdoctorshow.com.
Today, someone will be